there could well be a world-shaking cyber attack this year that
Yeah,
would get people's attention. It sounds like you agree with that.
I think that's totally possible. Yes, I think to avoid that, uh, it will require a tremendous amount of work.
This is part 2 of our Sam Altman series, and if you haven't watched part 1 yet, link is in the description, go watch that first. This interview is different. This one is Sam talking directly to Washington, to policymakers, to government, and telling them they're not ready for what's coming. A world-shaking cyber attack this year, a GI closer than anyone wants to admit, intelligence becoming as cheap as electricity, and the economic disruption so significant that even the most hardline Republicans are privately saying capitalism may need to change. I've pulled the moments that matter most for anyone building a business right now. As always, Sam does the talking. Let's go. And if this is your first time here, hit subscribe. We do this every week.
I really don't want to overstate what the current models are capable of, but you see these amazing things from scientists on, Twitter or other platforms saying, I use GPT 5.4 and it helped me do this amazing thing or that amazing thing. And I would expect that with the next class of models, you start to see people say, this helped me make the most important discovery of my decade or maybe my career. So that kind of level, like, maybe not winning a Nobel Prize on its own, but like a significant career defining discovery. On the kind of knowledge work side, I suspect that, current models you hear people say maybe they're like twice as productive or 3 times as productive as they used to be as a coder. And maybe you'll start to hear people uh, say, I'm able to do like the work of a whole team with these tools. So if it's, me and X hundred GPUs, we can do the work of a whole software team. I would say already, major swaths of knowledge work have been transformed. The world has, adopted that at different rates, but certainly what it meant to be a coder at the beginning of 2025 versus the beginning of 2026 were very different things. The main areas we currently track in our preparedness framework are cybersecurity, bio, and actually, in the interest of time, let me stop at those two. I suspect in the next year, we will see significant threats we have to mitigate from cyber. And these models are already quite capable and will get much more capable. And then on bio, this is something we've been talking about a lot. The models are clearly going to get very good at helping people do biology at an advanced level. Wonderful things are going to happen there. We'll see a bunch of diseases get cured. Someone is going to try to misuse those. I think that's totally possible. Yes, I think to avoid that, uh, it will require a tremendous amount of work, also in a sort of resilient style approach. Again, it's not just like make one AI model safe. It is defenders. We have this thing called the Trusted Access Program, other companies have other things, but cybersecurity companies, the major platforms, the governments using this technology to try to rapidly secure their systems, the open source stack, all of that. That's quite important now.
I want to stop there because what Sam just described is not a hypothetical. He's saying a world-shaking cyber attack is possible this year, not in 5 years, this year. For anyone running a business that depends on digital infrastructure, and that's most of us, that is not background noise. That is a direct operational risk to think about right now. The businesses that will be fine are the ones treating AI-powered security as a priority today, not after the event. If you're finding this useful, hit the like button. It helps this content reach more people who need to hear it. Back to Sam.
We're close enough to AGI that the precise definition matters. Some people would say we're already there. Some people would say we're not there yet. The fact that AI is discovering legitimately new scientific knowledge, and the fact that AI is doing serious, valuable economic work at real scale means wherever you think we are on that curve and wherever you want to label AGI on that curve, we're quite far along. Like we are in a new a new paradigm here of some sort.
Faster than people expect, faster than people are prepared for.
Never before in human history have close to 1 billion people been talking to this same like virtual brain. And these changes that we make, these like subtle changes does it, talk a little bit more in this style, a little bit more in that style. The impact of that is just not something that any of us, that no single person could have. Like, no single person could talk to 1 billion people every day or whatever. You pay an electricity bill to your house and then you plug in whatever you want. Like you have your computer, your oven, like my kids' toys, whatever, all use this electricity. And I get to use it in all sorts of ways. And there's sort of like people can come up with these brilliant things and I plug them in. And then, I don't really think about it, but there's this like amazing amount of work to generate electricity, get it to my house at a kind of amazingly cheap price, all things considered. That's come down hugely over time. And once a month, I pay my electricity bill and I get to do all this like amazing stuff. And I think about the stuff, not really the electricity. I think AI will be the same. You will have this personal super assistant running in the cloud. It will do a lot of work. It'll plug into devices, different products. You'll log into all these different services with you. It'll be running in the background, thinking for you, doing all this stuff. And, if you use it a lot or use it at high levels of intelligence, you'll have a higher bill one month. And if you use it less, you'll have a lower bill. But you'll have this intelligence that really knows you and you can kind of take it anywhere. And in the same way that you probably don't think about electricity all the time, you just think about all the things you use that are powered by electricity. The price per unit of intelligence, I suspect will continue to drop incredibly if we can build enough infrastructure. There's so much demand for this in the world that I can see like a very weird supply constraint and then prices would go up. I think that'd be bad. That's why we should build so much. But assuming we can build enough, I think like the price per unit will continue to fall at the rate it's been falling, which is astronomically fast. I also think that we have continued to see that people will pay a lot more for the frontier of intelligence. So you'll have like the price of last year's of intelligence falling, and the price of the frontier, and people always want a bigger, smarter model thinking more, and that'll keep going up. One of the like staunchest free market libertarian Republicans, whatever he would call himself, people that I know, said something like, look, I hate to give any airtime to ideas like these, but capitalism has depended on some balance between labor and capital. And if AI goes the way I think this person talking thinks it's going to go, then way too much leverage is going to be with capital and not with labor in the traditional sense, even though, of course, there'll be new jobs. And we're going to have to think about new kinds of ideas to sort of keep capitalism thriving. And what that idea is, I don't know. But if that dude is willing to say it's time to think about how to include more people in capitalism, and the way that we do that may have to shift with AI, then my sense is society as a whole is pretty ready for that conversation.
That is one of the most important things Sam has said publicly in a long time, and it barely made the news. A senior Republican privately admitting that the balance between capital and labor may need to fundamentally shift because of AI. That's not a left or right issue. That is a structural change to the economy that affects every business, every founder, every employee. The builders who understand this shift early and position themselves on the right side of it are the ones who will matter in 10 years. That's why we cover this stuff. If you're not subscribed yet, now is the time. Hit subscribe and you won't miss what's coming next.
The strongest I ever felt it was when we had finished training GPT-4. We didn't release it for many months after we finished it, but we knew we had this incredible thing. We knew that the world was never quite going to be the same, and we knew that the way we released it was hopefully going to nudge things in a better, but possibly a worse direction. And that time where this relatively small number of people in the world knew this thing, and we couldn't talk about it yet, and we knew that it was going to have this gigantic impact, I think there's no way to live through that and not have it change you.
Sam said something near the end of this interview that I think is worth sitting with. He was asked how the weight of this power has changed him. He said, "It's an unbelievable honor, a cool thing, a scary thing altogether. That tension between the opportunity and the risk, between the excitement and the fear, is exactly what every founder and builder is feeling right now at a much smaller scale. The difference is Sam has to live with decisions that affect 1 billion people. You and I just have to make sure we're on the right side of the shift. If this series has been useful, like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and share it with someone who's building and needs to hear this. See you on the next one.